Good morning, everybody. It is a stormy morning here, and so I'm going to use the indoor time to start working on a few projects. Yesterday, I went to the Kawartha Yarn and Fiber Festival here locally, which is a big yarn, I guess, vendor area or vendor market, and it was awesome. Probably because of COVID, not having the opportunity to really shop for a lot over those 2 years, it was extra special to be able to go and, you know, interact with people, talk about yarns, but also see all of the different vendors and all of the products that they had. So really exciting. But one of the things that happens when you go to a lot of these shows is that, and shop for yarn, is that the yarn comes in a form that's not easily knit. The yarn comes in skeins that need to be wound. So I thought I'd show you this morning the process that needs to happen before you can actually knit the yarn. So I have what is called a yarn swift or an umbrella swift and a yarn winder that I will put together here and show you how this is done. So I am lucky enough actually this time around to have a friend who wanted me to knit her a sweater. So she's picked this beautiful yarn from a company called One Stitch More hand dyed yarn. And it's super soft, it's so nice. So this is a merino wool. So she's picked this orange and this kind of dark blue as a contrast color. So I need to wind all of these skeins into balls, or what people might call cakes. And then I also have all of these. I'm not sure that I'm going to wind all of these today because it does take a lot of time, but I'll see how it goes and see how much time I have. I might do it all, and that way when I want to start a project, it's already done and I don't need to bring these tools out again. So I'm just going to set the Swift up and the ball winder, and I'll show you how it's done. So the Swift is the tool that the skein gets unraveled on or placed on, and I'm lucky when we made our countertop, it actually has a lip that all of these will connect to. So essentially what happens is you just expand, won't need that much, tighten that down there. And then the wool winder itself, I actually bought a number of years ago when I went to another, it's called the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival in Rhinebeck, New York, which is an amazing, amazing festival. They actually have sheep there as well, hence the name Sheep and Wool Festival. But this tool just clamps on the countertop as well. Okay, so now I'll show you how this is done, or the steps that you should do. So each skein has a band, and I always suggest this yarn is actually called Mango Tango, so fitting. So I always like to keep the bands, so just open that up. And then normally the bands have care instructions, so this one asks you just to visit the website, which is easy, and that just tells you kind of you know, washing instructions, etc. So the skeins are in a twist like this. All you do is open it up, unravel it, and it forms a loop, and you can see right here that the loops are tied. So I just need to get a little pair of scissors. So you just go around and snip the ties. And those ties are either singular, so they aren't connected to the yarn, or one of these will be. This one. Okay, so this one is actually connected to the yarn, and this is the one that I'm actually going to attach onto the wool winder. Okay, so now you just place the skein over the umbrella, and I might need to lower this down a little bit. Oh no, that might be perfect. Grab my end. I've got it kind of wrapped around here. And I just want to tighten this up so that it's snug. So I just loosen the Swift, tighten it up a little bit. And basically this piece of equipment just holds the skein so that you can wind it. And before I purchased this, I had Brian, you know, holding it with his arms, old school. You can also use the back of a chair. I've seen people do that, and that works really well also. To load your wool winder, there is the keeper here. It probably has a real name. So you kind of thread through there, and then there are little notches on the bobbin. And so I use the knot end, and it kind of keeps it in that notch. And then all you do is start to wind your wool winder. And I just hold with a hand here to keep the tension. And then you just start winding, and you'll build the cake or the ball of yarn on the wool winder. But this is a much faster process compared to using someone or a body to hold your yarn. And most yarn stores will, if you buy the yarn there, will wind the yarn for you if you don't have one of these. But I honestly got to the point where I was buying so much yarn that it was worth buying the wool winder and the umbrella sweat, so that I could do this by myself, because otherwise, little snag there, otherwise I always had to wait for Brian. So when your cake is done, you just pop it off the spindle or bobbin or whatever it's called. I just wrap it around a couple of times so that it's tight. It kind of holds the ball in place. I stick that loose end under and cinch it tight, and then you've got your little cake. And then if you have a bunch of different yarns, or even if you have the same, I always fold up the band. Usually that has the color or the dye lot on it, instructions, whatever, and I just stick it in the center like that until it's ready to use. So we're going to get the rest of these done. This yarn is called Black Rock. Very fitting. This wool is from Rambling Yarns. It is down near Niagara. It is in Niagara on the Lake in Ontario. And this is a chunky, really nice chunky yarn. These are all I'm going to wind today. All of these super cushy yarns are going to be for other projects that I'm probably not going to get to until the fall, and so I'll have another winding time then. These are mostly sock and hat yarns, so I have a couple of projects in mind for them, but I'm really excited about getting started on these two projects, especially they're for really special people. I've taken a break from knitting since, I'm going to say, April-ish, and so I haven't had anything on the needles since then, which is pretty normal for me at this time of year because we're busy with gardening and stuff like that. But I am really excited to start another project and get busy with knitting. It's usually my morning activity. I sit and I listen to an audiobook and I knit and have my coffee for first 45 minutes to an hour of the day. Makes getting up early really worth it. So I hope everybody has a really great weekend, that you're getting as much rain as we are. It's great for the gardens, for the trees and the plants. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.